So I was born to my mom as a teenager because her parents wouldn't allow her to get an abortion. I get it. I was never wanted by her, but still, she worked hard to give me all that I had. I'm not trying to take any of that away from her. But I got broken toys to play with. Until I was 10, I had a teddy that my mom got for me from a dollar store, and it hurt seeing all my friends have good food while I barely got a sandwich. Anyway, when I went off to college, my mom got mad at me for choosing the military program that my father arranged for me to get into. She really stopped messaging me until my graduation and advancement into the Army. Turns out, she married her boyfriend, and they had a kid. They have another one on the way now. I won't lie that she's really tried to make things up with me, but I live far away now, and a phone call a day is all we can do. But it's also all I want to do. Following my mom on Instagram and Facebook, I just hadn't felt anything but resentment toward my mom for not telling me. All over are pictures of her and her new family, and it's like there's no trace of me anywhere. There's a private video of her on her husband's YouTube of them doing a house walkthrough after renovations, and there's nothing of me in that house. Even my old room is changed with all my old stuff just gone or in storage somewhere. You'd never be able to tell that I lived there. Then there's the fact that this new girl is getting all that I couldn't as a kid, and I know she is because she can, and that it shouldn't bother me, but it does. Cut to yesterday, my mom phoned me and asked me when I was coming back home to be with family. I pointed out that her house hasn't been my home for 6 years, and I'd be staying on base with my father. She pointed out that I hadn't even met my sister yet, and I asked why she would even want me when she erased all signs of me so that she could have a do-over family. That made her really upset, and she started crying badly before ending the call. I told my fiancé about it because I was feeling like shit about making my mom cry, and he told me that it was an astrologish move since my mom has been trying to reach out to me. My father told me to just be grateful that my mother was able to provide and not worry about her new kids. I'm thinking that they're right and I should just say sorry. I wanted to commute from home to school, but my mom cut me out and kicked me out because I was joining the military. I had no contact with her for 4 years. Only after I graduated and actually joined the Army did she resume contact. I've only met her in person once in 6 years, and that was to introduce her to my boyfriend. She didn't come to our engagement party, even though I did send her an invite. I talk to her semi-regularly on the FaceTime, but it's not the same as a real conversation. I don't blame my mom for wanting an abortion. It makes me hate my grandparents, who are dead, that they used me to ruin my mom's life, and that she would have had a good life if I wasn't born. Yes, I do know that my birth wasn't wanted, but I absolutely do not blame her. My father joined the Army and was overseas in Eastern Europe. He was not in my life until I was a teenager, but he always sent us cash. Yes, I was inspired by him to join the Army, and I am still angry at him for not being in my life. It's weird, I know. But he has apologized to me a lot. He has helped me a lot since I turned 18, and we've been working through our issues. She didn't consent to the military decision. She told me that she was afraid that I would die in a war, that she was having nightmares over the idea of me getting shot, that it would ruin my life if I survived, that I would have PTSD and this and that. She broke up with my father because he joined the Army for the same reasons. But maybe she lied, and that is what she felt, and if that's the case, she should have told me because I still would have tried to reach out even when she cut me off. When I sent her the photo of me in my uniform, she seemed so happy, but she never put it up anywhere. Yesterday, my cousin called about wedding planning. She's going to be my other half and her daughter will be my flower girl. I was going to meet my cousin and niece next week for wedding planning. Turns out my mom called my cousin earlier and learned she was flying over for the planning, so the call was an apology and a courtesy that my mom's gonna phone again. And she did like minutes after I said bye to my cousin, and she was begging me to let her fly out with cousin and niece. She told me she knew that she'd hurt me and wanted to make it better, and thinks this might be the best chance we have since I'll be having my own family after marriage. I told her I needed to think about it. I barely slept last night, and the one dream I did have was a shitty one. Hell, I'm literally posting this while working, so clearly my mind isn't on that either. I just don't know if I'm wrong or if she's wrong, if we're both wrong or what. I got that she didn't like it then, but I'm an engineer. I'm working on great projects for the Army, and she seemed so excited every time I told her about all that. I sent her a photo of myself in uniform, and she seemed so happy to get it I thought she'd finally accepted it. But after I saw that video, it's not up anywhere. My father has been in my life and making amends, but it's still hard for me to stop being angry at him, and I see him every day. I guess if I'm being honest, I'm scared that I won't fit in. That they're going to be this happy nuclear family of 4, and here I am, the army girl who's old enough to be the mom of her own siblings. Hey, so I have an update. The day after I posted, I FaceTimed my mom so that we could talk. Before we even got to talk, my little sister came and grabbed the phone and tossed it. So, had to FaceTime back the day after. When my mom asked if she could come with my cousin and niece, I told her straight up I didn't want her coming with my cousin. It made me feel bad because I could tell my mom was upset, but trying to hide how upset she was. She asked if we could meet at all before the wedding week, and I felt really guilty, so I said I had time off the weekend of the 14th. She said she didn't want to leave her family all alone since her husband has a business getaway at that time, but I said that's the only time I had to give, so she could choose to come and let me know or stay home. She said she'd think about it and she'd also let my cousin take whatever pictures of me I wanted. Well, my cousin and niece came for wedding planning and holy shit, she brought albums and portraits and everything. My cousin admitted that she brought most of it since my mom still didn't put anything up, even the portrait of me in uniform. Honestly, I cried in my cousin's arms for like half an hour because of that. I only laughed when her daughter pointed out how silly I looked crying cause I'm a soldier. We spent that entire day making the slideshow and choosing which photos to have on display. The rest I put in storage where they'll stay till my place is ready. Honestly, the rest of the week went by great, and we barely talked about my mom. The one time we did, my cousin pointed out my mom did want my sister to be a flower girl, but was never going to ask since she was ashamed that I didn't even know her. After my cousin left, Mom phoned and said she'd be able to come this upcoming weekend, so tomorrow, because her husband's getaway got canceled because of you know what. I'm feeling nervous, scared, excited, and even angry. I've talked about this mostly with my fiancé and my therapist on base, but since I posted here, I guess I'd see what advice you guys have to give me as well for when I meet her. I did joke about meeting my mom in uniform, but I ended up working late and ended up having to go like that anyway. I don't know, I tried to remember what my therapist said and what you guys wrote, but it's like the moment I saw my mom sitting at the restaurant table, all of it just disappeared. I didn't push her back when she hugged me. Honestly, I hugged her so tight like we used to before I left, and that's all I could remember. We ordered food, but we barely ate, but whenever I wanted to yell, I stuffed it in my mouth. Like the first thing I said when we sat down was I just bluntly asked why she hated me joining the military so much that she just cut me out and acted like I didn't exist. My mom kind of blanched or something and used ordering as an excuse not to answer, so I asked again and put in that if she was so scared I'd die, she should have spent more time with me. And she told me her uncle fought in the Persian Gulf War when she was a kid, and when he came back he abused her, and it was like the uncle she loved died while her parents did nothing to stop him, so my dad, and then me joining was like a betrayal cause she got it so wrapped up in her head that there was so much death that one way or another we'd die. I wanted to cry at that point, so I just stuffed more food in my mouth, and when I could talk I just told my mom I fucking hate her parents for what they did to us, and it feels like she doesn't love me anymore. She said she does love me, and I'm still her baby, and I said if that was true, she would have at least put up pictures of me in the house. Like I said, that was my home, and I thought I'd inherit it like she did, but it's clearly not mine anymore, and won't ever be again since she has a new family I've never met. Like I pointed to her pregnant belly and was like, that's the closest I've been to your new life. And then I used the do-over line again and said it's like her new family is her trying to do it right cause she got it wrong with me that I became a soldier, and it's like she hates me. Honestly, if tears and water weren't running down my face and out the nose, then she was going to cry. Like I asked why wasn't I good enough to invite to her wedding? To ask to help with her pregnancy? To fucking give the house new paint? Other people were looking then, and I guess I felt embarrassed, and I just said that I wanted to go. My mom asked me to go up to her room so we could keep talking, and I didn't want to drive. I didn't feel like I could, so I agreed. So in her room we sat down on the bed, and I just broke down, and I don't really remember what I said, but some things I can remember. I missed you so much, and you replaced me. And you didn't even come see me get engaged. And I spent so many days wishing we could just cuddle, but you didn't even phone. And I don't know, I became a sobbing, hyperventilating mess with a headache, and my mom just made me drink water and then lay my head down in her lap and rubbed my head because I kept crying. And I cried until I fell asleep on her lap. I woke up hours later like into the night, and my mom was still awake just singing my childhood Macedonian lullaby to me and running her hand through my hair. I don't know, I just pretended to still be asleep cause I liked that, and of course I fell asleep again. When I woke up in the morning, I don't know, I was just hugging her, cuddling like we used to. It felt so good, but it made me so mad, and sad at the same time. So of course I got tears again. I swear I cry way too much. I just wanted to enjoy it, I guess, so we stayed like that till she told me she knew I was awake. So that day went better. I don't know, we didn't talk about Friday at all and just spent it all together from breakfast to dinner, just talking about stuff, and I won't lie, it felt good like she was really my mom again. After dinner, we went back to her room and she asked if I wanted to talk again, and I said we needed to, and I'd try my best not to cry. Well, we talked and my mom admitted she was wrong to cut me off, and she wished she never did. She said it was a mistake not to involve me in her wedding or pregnancy, and thought she was punishing me, and knows now she really hurt me and can't make it up to me. And about the pictures, she admitted that even though we were talking again, she didn't put them up because it was too triggering. For my engagement, she said she didn't come because my sister wasn't medically cleared to fly after an ear infection and she didn't want to leave her. Thankfully, I didn't cry, so I asked why she asked me to go home, and she said she realized once I got married and had my own kids, there'd be no way we'd be close again, and she didn't want that, which is exactly what I thought it was. I said I don't know if I could ever forgive her. I don't know, I didn't really say anything after that. I didn't know what to say. I didn't feel mad or sad, I just felt empty. Like so much could have been avoided if we just talked. Like just reading this, I feel the same way, and I keep listening to a longer psalm, and that doesn't make me feel better, but it's letting me write. I thought about leaving, but I stayed, brushed, and went to sleep hugging my mom cause I don't know if I'll ever get to again. I dropped her off at the airport the morning after, but we didn't really talk, just said our byes. I don't know what to think or say about what she said, I just feel so cold about it. I've been trying to talk about it with my therapist, but with the wedding less than a month away, I don't know, I keep talking about that instead. As for why I'm updating, maybe because you guys have been so supportive of me so far, I figured I'd hear what you have to say about all of this, and if you guys have any more advice to give. We only had 3 sessions with my therapist together before my wedding, but we did resume after my honeymoon. I think that so far they have been overall productive, if not very rage-inducing and weird. Like sometimes I just want to punch a wall, but sometimes I really wish I could just hug my mom. Anyway, a week before my wedding, my mom flew in with her family, but she asked if I could spare an hour to meet with her alone, and I had time that night, so we met at one of those places that are open 24/7, like a local Denny's. When I hugged her, I didn't know it wasn't like the last time we met. It was different and warm because I knew this time I wasn't going to explode after it. My mom said she had a few gifts, and she wasn't sure how much they would mean, but they were the best that she could give. She did tell me she had other typical wedding gifts to give, but that she felt she had to give these ones to me alone. The first gift was a really old book of lullabies in Macedonian, the ones that she would always sing to me. She said she brought it because I mentioned in one session that I'd be taking classes to learn Macedonian and wanted me to have so I'll be able to sing them to my kids whenever I have them like she was able to sing them to me. She said she wanted those lullabies to be special between us cause they haven't worked on my sister and she's a TV hound. The second one meant the most to me, and it's weird, but they were really old drafts of legal documents, stuff to get my name on her home so it'll be owned by only her and me. She said she was going to do it years ago as a reward if I didn't go to the army, but she should have done it anyway, and what I said about inheriting the house made her realize she couldn't take any more of it from me. She said, when I get back from the honeymoon, we'd draft new documents for it, but if I don't want it like that, she would sell it to me when her and her family move out. I said we'll figure it out. There's a lot of legalisms we have to work through obviously, but it is the gift I never knew I wanted. Like yeah, when I was a teenager, I always thought whoever I married would move there with me and my mom, and eventually I'd get it from her like she got it. But I never knew I wanted my name on that paper that says it's my home. Like it might not look like it anymore, but I guess it makes it feel like I haven't been erased from it if it is mine. Honestly, my mom's been urging me to get the process on this started and to have a virtual meeting with lawyers for estate planning, but I'm too sick right now. Honestly, I might not even do it, but the fact that she's so willing is what matters to me. The last gift from my mom was a box of matches and pictures of my grandparents. Yeah, they were copies cause apparently my uncle wouldn't give her the originals, but she told me that she noticed in the few sessions that we'd had at that point how angry I'd get when she mentioned them. So she said she thought I might like if we destroyed them together. I really wanted to have like one of those moments where we go to the top of a building and throw down the burning pictures, but it wasn't anything like that. We just burned them outside, but I did like it. As for my wedding day, it went by perfectly. We didn't have an official military ceremony, but it was stylized by it, and while I don't want to give too much away in case I dox myself, I was able to wear part of my uniform and my dress at the same time. My cousin looked so beautiful as my maid of honor, and her daughter was just so perfect. And I know shouldn't say it, but she is my sweetest niece. I couldn't imagine anybody else in those roles. And yeah, it went great, and the reception was great too. As for the therapy itself, I know I haven't talked about it that much, but I guess the reason that it has helped me a lot is because I feel I understand my mom a lot more, and that she gets why her cutting me off hurt me so much. I don't want to get into it too much, but I also want to write about some parts. My own therapist actually recommended I talk to people on Reddit to get perspective and validation from strangers after I revealed what I posted, so I guess that's why I feel like being a bit open here. I know what you're all wondering, and if I've forgiven her, and the truth is I haven't. I appreciate the therapy, I love the gifts, but I still don't know if I can forgive my mom. Like I finally forgave my dad just before my wedding. It took him 6 years to earn that. So I do hope I'll be able to reach a place where I can forgive my mom, and if things keep going the way that they are going, then I do believe that I will. It isn't going to be how it was when I was a teenager, but I guess it never is for anyone really. But at least my mom and I are close enough again that if I ever need to cry and cuddle and my husband isn't around, then I think she'd be there for me.